The day Lisa Carter boarded the starship Nova was the day everything changed for her. She never planned to be a hero. She never planned to meet an alien queen. She certainly never planned to get married. Yet the universe had its own plans for the quiet mechanic from Ohio. Lisa was 28 years old with short brown hair and hands always stained with engine grease. She loved machines more than she loved most people. Machines made sense. They had problems you could fix with the right tools. People were messy, complicated, and often made no sense at all. The starship Nova was the newest vessel in Earth's small but growing fleet. Its mission was to establish diplomatic relations with the luminary people of the planet Zephyr. The crew consisted of 20 members including diplomats, scientists, security personnel, and one mechanic. Lisa Carter. Captain Olivia Stone was in charge of the mission. She was a tall, serious woman with dark skin and sharp eyes that seemed to see everything. She called a meeting before takeoff. Our mission is simple but crucial, she told the crew. The Luminary have technology far beyond our own. Their energy sources could solve Earth's power crisis. We need this alliance. Lisa sat in the back of the room. She was not interested in politics or diplomacy. She was there to keep the ship running, that was all. The journey to Zephyr took 3 months. During that time, Lisa kept to herself, working in the engine room or sleeping in her small cabin. She spoke only when necessary and ate her meals alone. Captain Stone tried several times to include her in crew activities, but Lisa always found an excuse to return to her engines. The ship is my responsibility, Captain, she would say. I need to make sure everything is perfect. As they approached Zephyr, excitement grew among the crew. The planet was beautiful from space, with swirling clouds in shades of purple and blue and oceans that glittered like diamonds. Even Lisa found herself staring at it during her breaks. Luminary sent messages welcoming them. They would land near the capital city and be greeted by Queen Ilara herself. This was a great honor. Captain Stone told everyone they must be on their best behavior. The landing was smooth thanks to Lisa's careful maintenance of the ship's systems. As the crew prepared for the welcoming ceremony, Lisa changed into a clean uniform. But Captain Stone shook her head when she saw her. You can stay with the ship, Carter, she said. Someone needs to run diagnostics after the landing. She smiled, trying to be kind, but Lisa saw the truth. The captain did not want the awkward mechanic at an important diplomatic event. Lisa nodded, relieved. She did not want to go anyway. She watched through a viewport as the others left, the ship in their dress uniforms. The Luminary waited for them in a formation of perfect lines. Their blue skin glowed in the purple light of their sun. They were tall, much taller than humans, with long limbs and graceful movements. When everyone was gone, Lisa began her work. She checked each system methodically, making small adjustments when needed. She was deep in the engine room when she heard it. A soft tapping sound coming from outside the ship. First, she ignored it. Space made ships creak and groan as metal expanded and contracted, but the tapping continued, more urgent now. It was not a normal ship sound. Lisa grabbed her toolkit and went to investigate. She opened a small maintenance hatch on the lower level of the ship. The purple light of Zephyr poured in, along with fresh, sweet air that smelled like flowers. Lisa blinked, letting her eyes adjust, and then she saw her. A Luminary female was crouched beside the ship. Her silver hair fell around her face like a curtain. Her blue skin was covered in tiny lights that pulsed rapidly. But what caught Lisa's attention was the dark liquid seeping between the alien's fingers as she pressed her hand against her side. She was injured. The Luminary looked up. Her eyes were large and luminous, glowing with an inner light that reminded Lisa of stars. She spoke, her voice musical but strained. Help me, human. The others cannot find me. Lisa hesitated. She was not supposed to interact with the aliens. That was for the diplomats and the captain, but this Luminary was hurt, possibly dying. Lisa could not simply close the hatch and pretend she had seen nothing. She reached out a hand. I can help you come inside. The Luminary moved with surprising speed, despite her injury, slipping through the hatch and into the maintenance corridor. She was even taller up close, at least 7 feet, with a slender build that made her seem almost fragile. Despite her height, Lisa closed the hatch and led the alien to a small storage room where the medical supplies were kept. Sit here, she said, pointing to a bench. I know basic first aid. The luminary sat down, removing her hand from her side. The wound was deep, a clean slice that leaked blue luminescent blood. Lisa gathered bandages, disinfectant, and medical tape. This might hurt, she warned. I don't know if your people react to our medicines. The alien nodded. I understand. You may proceed. Lisa cleaned the wound carefully. The luminary did not flinch or make a sound, though Lisa was sure it must hurt. She applied a sealing bandage and wrapped it securely. The bleeding slowed, then stopped. Who are you? Lisa asked as she worked. What happened? I am Alara. The luminary replied. The queen of the luminary. Lisa nearly dropped the bandages. The queen. But you're supposed to be at the welcoming ceremony with Captain Stone and the others. Queen Alara sighed, a sound like wind through crystal. My cousin Sylar wishes to take my throne. He arranged an attack during the ceremony. I escaped, but not without injury. Her eyes met Lisa's. If he succeeds, your mission will fail. He does not wish an alliance with Earth. Lisa finished the bandaging, trying to process this information. She was hiding an injured alien queen in a storage room. This was far beyond her job description. Need to tell Captain Stone, she said. She can help. No. Queen Alara grabbed Lisa's wrist, her touch cool and tingling. I do not know who among my people I can trust, and your captain is surrounded by my court. You must help me. Human Lisa stared at the queen. This was not her problem. She was just a mechanic, but something in the queen's glowing eyes made it impossible to turn away. What do you need? She asked. A place to hide until I can determine who remains loyal, and a way to communicate with those I trust. Lisa thought for a moment. The Nova had many small compartments and storage areas. She could hide the queen in one of them. The crew rarely entered the maintenance sections of the ship, leaving those spaces to Lisa. I can hide you on the ship, she said. But I need to know everything about what's happening. You need to trust me. Queen Alara studied Lisa, her glowing eyes unblinking. Finally, she nodded. I will trust you, human. What is your name? Lisa Carter. I'm the ship's mechanic. Queen. Alara smiled for the first time, tiny lights dancing across her blue skin. The effect was breathtaking, like watching stars being born. A mechanic, she said. You fix broken things. Perhaps you can help. Fix my broken world. Lisa helped the queen to a rarely used storage room deep in the ship's lower level. She brought blankets, water, and emergency rations. She treated the wound again, making sure it was clean and properly sealed. You should rest, she told Queen Alara. He'll check on you when I can. The queen lay down on the makeshift bed, her silver hair spreading around her like a pool of liquid moonlight. Lisa could not help but stare. She had never seen anyone so beautiful or so alien. Thank you, Lisa Carter, the queen said softly. My life is in your hands. Lisa returned to her duties, trying to act normal. When the diplomatic team returned, they were concerned the welcoming ceremony had been interrupted by what the luminary called a security incident. The queen had been rushed away for her protection. Captain Stone was frustrated. This complicates everything, she told the crew. We need to reschedule the negotiations, but the luminary court seems divided. Some want to proceed. Others want to wait for the queen's return. Lisa listened, saying nothing. She felt the weight of her secret pressing down on her. She was hiding information that could impact the entire mission, but she had promised Queen Alara her silence. That night, Lisa sneaked food and fresh bandages to the queen. She found Alara awake, sitting cross-legged on the floor, her eyes closed as if in meditation. The lights beneath her skin pulsed slowly in rhythm like a heartbeat. Lisa watched, fascinated. Each pulse sent waves of light cascading through the queen's body. It was like watching the northern lights on Earth, but contained within a living being. Queen Alara opened her eyes. The human has returned, she said. I brought food. Lisa held out a tray. Also, I should check your wound as. She changed the bandage. Lisa noticed the injury was already healing, the edges knitting together faster than any human wound would. Your people heal quickly, she observed. We are connected to the energy of our world, Queen Alara explained. It flows through us, healing, sustaining. But here away from Zephyr's soil, the process is slower. She looked at Lisa with curiosity. And what of humans? What gives you lifeblood oxygen chemical reactions? Lisa said, thinking back to basic biology lessons. Nothing magical. The Queen smiled. Every living thing is magical. Lisa Carter. Even. The simplest cell contains wonders beyond understanding. Lisa found herself smiling back. There was something about Queen Alara that made her feel at ease, despite the strangeness of the situation. Tell me about your world. The Queen said. Tell me about Earth, so Lisa did. She told Queen Alara about Earth, blue skies and green forests, about oceans and mountains, about cities and farms. She talked more than she had in months, finding that the Queen was an excellent listener, asking intelligent questions. Showing genuine interest in return, Queen Alara told Lisa about Zephyr, about the floating mountains that defied gravity, about creatures that changed color with the seasons about. For 3 days, Lisa managed to keep Queen Alara hidden on the Nova. Each morning she attended the crew meetings, listening as Captain Stone reported another delay in negotiations. The Luminary Court claimed their queen was in seclusion preparing for the formal talks, but rumors spread of unrest in the capital. After each meeting, Lisa would work on the ship, performing necessary maintenance while gathering supplies for the Queen: food, medicine, clean clothing. She smuggled them to the storage room whenever she could be sure no one would see her. Queen Alara grew stronger each day. The wound on her side healed, leaving only a faint silver line on her blue skin. She spent the time teaching Lisa about luminary culture and history. My people were once warriors, the Queen explained. We fought among ourselves for centuries until the Great Peace 300 years ago. Since then, we have turned our energy to creation rather than destruction. We built cities in the sky. We learned to harness the power of our suns. We explored the stars, but my cousin Siler believes we have grown weak. He wishes to return to the old ways, to conquest and glory. Lisa sat across from the Queen in the small storage room. She had brought a star map of the local systems, and they were reviewing it together, looking for potential allies. Why does he oppose the alliance with Earth? Lisa asked. Queen Alara sighed. He fears your people, your adaptability, your resourcefulness. He has studied your history and sees only the wars, the destruction. He cannot see the beauty, the art, the compassion. She looked at Lisa, her eyes glowing softly. I see all of it in you. Lisa felt her face grow warm. She was not used to compliments, especially from royalty, even alien royalty. She changed the subject quickly. We need to get a message to your loyal supporters. How can we do that without revealing you're here? The Queen thought for a moment. There is a communication crystal in my personal chambers. It allows me to speak directly to my most trusted advisors. But to reach it, we would need to enter the palace. Lisa frowned. That sounds dangerous. Queen. Alara smiled. It is. But I believe you are resourceful enough to find a way. Lisa Carter. Later that day, an opportunity presented itself. Captain Stone announced that the Luminary had invited the human delegation to a tour of the capital city. This is a good sign, she told the crew. They seem to be moving past whatever political issue delayed the negotiations. We need to make a good impression. Show them that humans are worthy allies. Lisa usually avoided such outings, but this time she volunteered. I'd like to see the city captain. She said it might help me understand their technology better. Captain Stone looked surprised, but pleased. Good thinking, Carter. Maybe you'll pick up something useful for the engine room. The tour group consisted of 10 crew members, including Lisa. They were led by a tall luminary male named Voran, who claimed to be a royal advisor. He showed Them the crystal spires of the capital, the gardens where plants floated in midair, the great market where goods from across the planet were traded. Lisa paid careful attention to their route, memorizing turns and landmarks. She also studied the Luminari, themselves searching for clues about their allegiances as Queen Alara had taught her. Those loyal to the Queen wore small crystal pendants. Those who followed Sylar had abandoned this tradition. Voran wore no pendant. Lisa noted. The highlight of the tour was a visit to the outer courtyards of the royal palace. The inner chambers remained off limits, but the humans were allowed to walk through the public gardens and view the throne room from a distance. This is where Queen Alara receives visitors. From other worlds, Voran explained. She has not been seen in public since your arrival. A matter of ritual purification, he added. But Lisa caught the hesitation in his voice. While the others admired a fountain that sprayed water in complex changing patterns, Lisa slipped away. She had studied the Queen's descriptions of the palace layout and moved confidently through side corridors, avoiding the main halls. She encountered few luminari, and those she did see barely glanced at her. The Queen had explained that service staff often included visitors from other worlds. They would assume she was a new worker. The Queen's private chambers were in the west wing of the palace, behind doors carved from a material that looked like mother of pearl. Lisa found them guarded by a single luminary female, tall and stern, with a crystal pendant at her throat. A loyalist, Lisa approached directly as the Queen had instructed. I bring a message from the stars, she said, the phrase Queen Alara had taught. The guard stiffened, her eyes widening. She is alive, she whispered. Lisa nodded. Queen Alara sends me to retrieve the communication crystal. The guard studied Lisa for a long moment. Then she nodded, stepping aside. Quickly, human. The false counselors. Search for it even now. Lisa entered the Queen's chambers. They were vast and beautiful, with ceilings that seemed to open directly to the purple sky above. Furniture, made of twisted crystal and living wood, filled the rooms. Plants grew from the walls, some bearing fruits that glowed with inner light. The communication crystal was where the Queen had described it would be, inside a small alcove hidden behind a tapestry depicting the luminary solar system. Lisa retrieved it, a thing the size of her, palm clear as glass but warm to the touch. As she turned to leave, a voice stopped her. What are you doing here, human? Luminary male stood in the doorway. He wore elaborate robes and had a face that reminded Lisa of Queen Alara, the same high cheekbones, the same luminous eyes, but where the Queen's gaze was warm and wise, his was cold and calculating. Lisa thought quickly, My apologies, sir. I became separated from the tour group. I was trying to find my way back. The luminary stepped closer, studying her. His eyes fell to her hand where the crystal was visible. You are a thief, he said, his voice dangerous. No, sir. Lisa backed away. I found this on the floor. I was going to return it. The luminary reached for her, but as he did, the guard from outside appeared. Behind him, she moved with startling speed, pressing something to the male's neck. He collapsed to the floor unconscious. That is Sylar, the guard said. Her voice was urgent. Now go, human. Return to your ship. The Queen must have the crystal. Lisa ran here, retraced her steps through the palace, hearing shouts behind her. She reached the tour group just as they were preparing to leave. Captain Stone frowned at her. Where have you been? Carter. Bathroom, Lisa said, slipping the crystal into her pocket. The return. To the Nova was tense. Lisa expected luminary guards to stop them at any moment to search them for the stolen crystal, but they reached the ship without incident. That night, Lisa brought the crystal to Queen Alara. The Queen took it with reverence, holding it between her palms until it began to glow with a soft blue light. She closed her eyes, whispering words in the musical luminary language. The crystal pulsed brighter, then dimmed. It is done, the Queen said. My loyal followers know I am safe. They will move against Sylar tomorrow. What happens then? Lisa asked. Queen. Ilara looked at her with those star-filled eyes. Then, if all goes well, I return to my throne, and you and your people get your alliance. Lisa should have felt relieved. The crisis would soon be over. The mission would succeed. But instead she felt a strange sadness. The Queen would leave the ship, would return to her palace and her duties. Lisa would go back to her engines alone. Captain Stone called an emergency meeting. The next morning her face was grave. "There has been a coup attempt on Zephyr," she announced. "The Queen's cousin tried to seize power. He has been arrested along with his supporters. Queen Alara has requested our presence at the palace immediately. She especially asked for our mechanic." Lisa felt all eyes turn to her. She kept her face neutral even as her heart raced. "Why would the Queen ask for me?" Captain Stone shrugged. "I'm as surprised as you are, but this could be important for the negotiations. Get cleaned up. We're leaving in 30 minutes. The palace was different from the day before. Guards in ceremonial armor stood at every entrance, their pendants glinting in the purple sunlight. The human delegation was led directly to the throne room, a vast chamber with walls of living crystal that hummed with energy. Queen Alara sat on a throne carved from a single piece of blue stone. Her silver hair was arranged in an elaborate crown woven with tiny glowing flowers. Her robes shimmered with light flowing around her like water. When she moved, tiny cascades of sparks followed her gestures. She greeted Captain Stone and the delegation with formal words of welcome. But her eyes found Lisa standing at the back of the group, and she smiled. "Lisa." "Carter," the Queen said, her voice carrying through the chamber. "Step forward." Lisa moved slowly, conscious of everyone watching her. She stopped before the throne and bowed awkwardly, unsure of the proper protocol. Queen Ilara rose and descended the steps, until she stood directly before Lisa. Despite the difference in their heights, their eyes met with perfect understanding. "This human saved my life," the Queen announced to the gathered court. "When I was wounded and in danger, she gave me shelter. She kept me safe until my loyal subjects could restore order. Lisa Carter has earned the highest honor of the luminary people." Captain Stone looked from Lisa to the Queen, her expression one of complete confusion. "Carter, what is she talking about?" Before Lisa could answer, Queen Alara continued. "By the ancient laws of my people, when one saves the life of royalty, a bond is formed. A bond that cannot be broken." She looked at Lisa, her eyes glowing intensely. "This human is now connected to the throne of Zephyr forever." Lisa swallowed hard. Somehow she knew what was coming next, but it still shocked her when the Queen said it. "In accordance with tradition, I offer Lisa Carter my hand in marriage." The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity. Captain Stone tried repeatedly to change Lisa's mind. She called emergency meetings with the diplomatic team. She even contacted Earth for instructions. But Lisa remained firm in her decision. "I know. This seems crazy," she told Captain Stone, "but I feel like this is what I'm meant to do." Stone shook her head in disbelief. "You're a mechanic from Ohio, Carter, not a royal consort to an alien queen. What do you know about diplomacy, about court politics, about interspecies relationships?" Lisa had no good answer to these questions. She only knew that when she thought about leaving Zephyr, about never seeing Alara again, she felt a hollowness inside her that nothing could fill. Queen Alara gave Lisa chambers in the palace while preparations for the marriage ceremony began. The rooms were beautiful, with high ceilings and windows that looked out over the floating mountains of Zephyr Luminari. Servants attended to her needs, bringing her strange fruits, with sweet flavors, and clothing made from materials that seemed to flow like water. The Queen visited each day. They walked together in the palace gardens where flowers followed their movements, turning like faces to the sun. They spoke of many things: their childhoods, their worlds, their hopes for the future. "It is not a simple thing I ask of you," Ilara said during one such walk. "To leave your world, your people, your life." Lisa watched a creature like a butterfly, but the size of her hand with wings, that changed color as it moved. "It's not like I had much of a life on Earth," she admitted. "I had a job, an apartment, a few acquaintances, but no real friends. No family since my parents died. I'm not leaving much behind." Alara reached out her long blue fingers, brushing against Lisa's in a gesture that had become familiar. A touch that sent pleasant tingles up her arm. "Still, it is a sacrifice. You will be the only human on Zephyr when your ship leaves." Lisa looked up at the Queen, at her luminous eyes and gentle smile. "I don't see it as a sacrifice," she said. "I see it as an adventure. The greatest adventure anyone from Earth has ever had. Alara smiled, lights dancing beneath her skin. I believe you were sent to me. Lisa Carter. Across the vast emptiness of space, against all probability, you came to my world at the moment I needed you. Most Captain Stone remained opposed to the marriage, but she was overruled by her superiors on Earth. They saw the political advantage of having a human married to the Luminary Queen. The alliance they had come seeking would be cemented by this union. Trade agreements, technology, sharing cultural exchanges, all would be simplified by the personal connection. This is bigger than your personal feelings. Carter Stone told Lisa. The diplomatic team believes this marriage could advance human interests by decades. Lisa frowned. I am not marrying Alara for Earth. I am marrying her because... She hesitated, realizing she hadn't fully articulated her feelings even to herself. Because she is remarkable. And because when I'm with her I feel like more than just a mechanic. Stone studied her for a long moment. Then her expression softened. Just be careful, Carter. The Luminary are not human, no matter how they might seem. Their biology, their culture, their values are alien. Remember that. The marriage ceremony would last 7 days according to Luminary tradition, each day representing one of the 7 virtues their people held: sacred, wisdom, courage, compassion, justice, harmony, creation, and transcendence. On the first day, the day of wisdom, Lisa was taken to the Temple of Ancestors, a vast structure carved into one of the floating mountains. Its walls were covered in glowing script, the recorded knowledge of generations of Luminary. Here Lisa met the Keepers of Memory, ancient Luminary whose skin had faded to a pale blue, but whose eyes still burned with inner light. They examined her, asking questions about Earth human history and her own life. You must carry the wisdom of 2 worlds now, human one said. They touched a cool finger to Lisa's forehead. Your mind must expand to hold such knowledge. Lisa felt a strange sensation like cool water flowing into her brain. Suddenly she could read the Luminary script on the walls, understanding concepts that would have been impossible before. The second day, the day of courage, found Lisa in the caverns of light, deep beneath the palace. There she faced her fears in darkness, illuminated only by the bioluminescent creatures that dwelled in the depths. She walked paths where the gravity shifted unpredictably. She crossed bridges made of living vines that moved beneath her feet. Alara waited for her at the end of the trials, her light a beacon in the darkness. You did not falter, the Queen said with pride. I was terrified, Lisa admitted, but I kept thinking of you. The third day, the day of compassion, took Lisa to the healing houses of the capital where the sick and injured Luminary were tended. She worked alongside the healers, using her mechanical skills to repair medical devices and her newly acquired knowledge of Luminary physiology to assist with treatments. The fourth day, the day of justice, brought Lisa to the Council of Elders where she witnessed the trial of Sylar, the Queen's cousin. The evidence of his treachery was presented. His punishment was decided: exile to the far side of Zephyr, where he would live among the simple farmers, far from power and politics. Lisa expected to feel satisfaction at his downfall, but instead she felt pity for the proud Luminary now brought low. That is the first test of justice, Alara told her when she expressed this feeling, to feel compassion, even for those who have wronged you. The fifth day, the day of harmony, was spent in meditation. Lisa and Alara sat together in the Queen's private garden, surrounded by plants that sang soft melodies when the wind blew through their leaves. They did not speak for hours, simply existing together in peaceful silence. Lisa had never experienced such stillness. Her mind, usually busy with calculations and repairs, gradually quieted. She felt her breathing synchronize with Alara's, felt the subtle energy that flowed through the Luminary begin to resonate within her own body. When the sun set, Alara looked at her with wonder. You glow, she said. Lisa looked down at her hands in the dimming light. They seemed to emit a faint luminescence like Alara's skin, but much fainter. The connection between us grows stronger, the Queen explained. Soon we will be truly bonded. The sixth day, the day of creation, was a celebration of art and beauty. Lisa was taken to the workshops where luminary craftspeople created their wonders: glass that could capture and replay sounds, metal that changed shape with a thought fabric that responded to emotions. Lisa found herself drawn to the mechanics workshop where luminary engineers built devices that defied Earth's understanding of physics, machines that drew energy directly from the planet's core, vehicles that flew without engines, communication devices that worked across vast distances without satellites or towers. The engineers welcomed her, sharing their knowledge. Lisa's practical experience combined with their theoretical understanding led to new ideas, new possibilities. Lisa spent the day in joyful collaboration, her hands working with materials she had never seen before, creating something that had never existed. Alara found her there, covered in the luminary equivalent of engine, her eyes bright with excitement. "You have found your place," the Queen said. "Part of it." Lisa replied, grinning. "The other part is with you." The seventh day, the day of transcendence, dawned clear and beautiful. The entire capital was decorated with floating lights and crystal sculptures that caught the sunlight and broke it into rainbow patterns. The ceremony would take place at sunset in the Great Plaza, before thousands of witnesses. Captain Stone came to see Lisa as she prepared. She brought a message from Earth. "They wish you well," she said formally. "But they've also asked me to remind you that you remain a citizen of Earth, and they expect regular reports on luminary technology and culture." Lisa frowned. "So I'm to be a spy in my wife's court?" Stone looked uncomfortable. "Not a spy, an ambassador. A bridge between our worlds." Lisa understood the politics at play. She knew Earth would try to use this marriage to its advantage, just as some among the luminary would. "I will share what I can," she told Stone. "What Alara agrees can be shared, but I won't betray her." Trust. Stone nodded. Then unexpectedly she hugged Lisa. "Good luck." "Carter, I think you're crazy, but also maybe the bravest person I've ever met." As the sun began to set, Lisa was dressed in the ceremonial robes created for her. The fabric shimmered with tiny lights that responded to her emotions, changing color from deep blue to purple to gold. As her excitement and nervousness fluctuated, a circlet of living flowers was placed on her head, their petals opening and closing with her breath. The Great Plaza was filled with luminary citizens. Their combined bioluminescence created a sea of living light that ebbed and flowed like waves. The human delegation stood to one side, small figures. Among the tall blue aliens, Captain Stone and the diplomats in their dress uniforms watching as their mechanic prepared to make history. A hush fell over the crowd as Queen Alara appeared. She wore robes of silver that caught and amplified her inner light, making her glow like a star. Her hair was woven with crystals that sang soft notes with each step she took. Her eyes found Lisa across the plaza, and even at a distance, Lisa could feel the connection between them, a tangible thing, like a thread of light binding them together. They met at the center of the plaza beneath an arch made of intertwined living plants that bloomed as they approached. The High Priest of Zephyr, a luminary so old their skin had turned almost white, stood waiting for them. Life as the royal consort to the queen of an alien world was not easy. Lisa discovered this quickly in the months that followed the marriage ceremony. There were protocols to learn languages, to master ceremonies, to attend. She who had spent most of her life avoiding people now found herself constantly surrounded by them. The Nova departed 2 weeks after the wedding, leaving Lisa as the only human on Zephyr. Captain Stone promised to return within 6 months, bringing news from Earth and collecting Lisa's reports on luminary technology. "It is vital that you remember your duty to humanity," Stone told Lisa during their final meeting. Lisa nodded, understanding the unspoken message. She was expected to persuade Queen Alara to share luminary advances with Earth, to be an advocate for human interests in the alien court. The hardest part was not the diplomatic responsibilities or the cultural differences. It was learning to be a public figure. Lisa, who had always preferred the quiet solitude of the engine room, now found herself watched constantly by curious luminary. Alara was patient with her, helping her navigate the complexities of royal life. The Queen arranged for tutors to teach Lisa the luminary language and history she provided, guides to help her explore the capital and beyond. More importantly, Alara gave Lisa a purpose beyond being a decorative consort. She created a new position, Royal Engineer, and charged Lisa with overseeing technological projects throughout the kingdom. "This is where your talents can truly shine, my love," Alara said. "You understand machines in a way few of my people do." Lisa embraced this role eagerly. She established workshops where luminary engineers could collaborate with her on new designs. She studied their energy systems, marveling at how they drew power directly from the planetary core, without pollution or waste. She helped improve their communication networks, making them more efficient and reliable. Some of the luminary court resented her influence. They whispered behind their hands when she passed. They questioned her qualifications, her understanding of their world. But Lisa ignored them, focusing on her work and on her relationship with Alara. At night, in their private chambers, Lisa and Alara would talk for hours, sharing the events of their days, their thoughts, their dreams. Alara would tell stories of luminary history, legends of heroes and villains that had shaped their civilization. Lisa would describe Earth, its oceans and forests, its cities and deserts, its art and music. Sometimes Alara would sing for her luminary songs that made the air vibrate with emotion. The Queen's voice would call forth colors in the darkness, patterns of light that danced and swirled around them. Lisa could not sing in return, but she could build things. Small mechanical wonders that delighted the Queen. A device that created holographic butterflies that responded to voice commands. A music box that played Earth melodies while projecting images of Lisa's homeworld. Their physical relationship developed slowly, carefully. The differences in their biology made intimacy a discovery process. Luminary did not kiss as humans did, but they had their own ways of showing affection. Light touches that sent pleasant energy flowing between them. The pressing of foreheads together to share thoughts and emotions. The twining of fingers to create patterns of synchronized light. Lisa found her own body changing subtly as the bond between them strengthened. Her skin developed a faint luminescence visible in darkness. Her eyes gained small flecks of light like tiny stars. Her hair, when caught in certain light, seemed to shimmer with colors, not entirely natural to Earth humans. The royal physicians monitored these changes with fascination. "The bond rewrites you on a cellular level," they explained. "It is unprecedented, a human and a luminary joining. But the changes appear beneficial. Your cellular regeneration has increased. Your neural pathways have expanded. You are becoming something new. Something between our worlds." 6 months after the wedding, the Nova returned as promised. Captain Stone led a new delegation of scientists and diplomats. Their mission to formalize the alliance between Earth and Zephyr and to establish permanent human presence on the planet. Lisa met them at the spaceport. She wore luminary clothing, now a flowing robe in deep blue that complemented her slightly glowing skin. Her hair was arranged in the royal style with small crystal ornaments that chimed softly when she moved. Captain Stone stared at her for a long moment. "You look different, Carter." Lisa smiled. "I am different, but still me." She embraced her former captain. "Welcome back to Zephyr." The Earth delegation brought news and gifts, letters from friends on Earth. Though Lisa had few enough of those technology from home that seemed primitive compared to what she now worked with every day. Most importantly, they brought the diplomatic framework for the Alliance Queen. Alara welcomed the humans with a formal reception in the palace Great Hall. She sat on her crystal throne with Lisa beside her in a slightly smaller throne created especially for the royal consort. The symbolism was clear to all. The human had a place of honor and power in the luminary court. The negotiations began the next day. Lisa served as a bridge between the two sides, explaining human concerns to Alara and luminary perspectives to the Earth delegation. She advocated for fair exchange of knowledge and resources, knowing that both worlds had much to gain from cooperation. Some of the Earth representatives pushed for more access to luminary technology than the Queen was willing to grant. "Your energy systems alone could revolutionize our world," one scientist argued. "We face climate crisis, resource depletion. Why would you withhold solutions? Lisa understood both sides. Earth desperately needed the clean, efficient energy technology of the Luminari, but Zephyr feared giving too much, too quickly to a species with a history of using technology for destruction. We can share the knowledge, Alara said, but gradually. As your world demonstrates responsible use of each level of technology, we will provide the next. This is not withholding. This is wisdom. Lisa supported this position. She knew her birth world well enough to recognize the danger in giving advanced technology without proper safeguards. At night, after long days of negotiations, Lisa and Alara would retreat to their chambers. To decompress, they want everything at once. Lisa sighed, lying beside the Queen on their bed of living crystal that conformed to their bodies. The Earth delegates don't understand the concept of patience. Alara ran glowing fingers through Lisa's hair, creating trails of light that lingered for moments before fading. They are afraid their world suffers. They see our technology as salvation. Lisa nodded. I know. And they have reason to fear. The damage humans have done to Earth is severe. But I worry that they would repeat the same mistakes with more powerful technology. The Queen was silent for a moment, her inner light pulsing slowly in thought. Then she said, Perhaps we need to show them, not tell them. What do you mean? Lisa asked. Let us invite them to visit the sacred sites of Zephyr, to see how our technology works in harmony with our world, not dominating nature but partnering with it. They need to understand the philosophy behind our advances, not just the advances themselves. The next day, Alara announced that the negotiations would pause for 3 days. The Earth delegation would be taken on a tour of Zephyr to witness Luminari technology in its cultural context. Lisa accompanied them as they visited the energy hubs deep in the crystal caves where Luminari engineers communed with the planetary core drawing power through a symbiotic relationship rather than extraction. They traveled to the floating farms where plants grew in mid-air, their roots extending into nutrient mist rather than soil. They observed the transportation network where vehicles moved without combustion, using the planet's magnetic field for propulsion. Throughout the tour, Lisa explained not just how things worked but why they worked that way, a Luminari philosophy of balance and harmony that underpinned all their technological development. Many of the Earth delegates were skeptical at first, but as they witnessed system after system working perfectly without pollution, without waste, without harm to the environment, their attitudes began to shift. This could work on Earth, one engineer admitted. We would need to adapt it to our planet's different magnetic field, but the principles are sound. That night, the delegation was invited to a ceremony at the Temple of Harmony. The Luminari gathered in concentric circles beneath the stars, their bodies glowing in synchronized patterns as they chanted in their musical language. The humans watched from an honored place near the center. The ceremony reached its peak as the Luminari directed their combined light upward, creating a column of radiance that seemed to touch the stars themselves. The energy was palpable, a vibration that Lisa could feel in her bones. We are all connected, Queen Alara told the watching humans. Everything that exists is part of the same cosmic dance. Technology is not separate from nature. It is nature's expression through sentient minds. After the ceremony, the Earth delegates seemed changed, quieter, more thoughtful. When negotiations resumed the next day, the tone was different, less demanding, more collaborative. The final agreement was signed a week later. It established regular exchange visits between Earth and Zephyr. It created a framework for sharing technology in measured, responsible stages. It formed a council of representatives from both worlds to oversee the alliance. It is a beginning, Captain Stone said at the signing ceremony. Not everything we hoped for, but more than we could have expected. Lisa smiled. Her former captain, beginnings are important. The rest will come with time and trust. As the Earth delegation prepared to depart, Stone took Lisa aside. 5 years passed since the day Lisa Carter first set foot on Zephyr. 5 years since she had hidden an injured alien queen on a starship. 5 years since she had accepted a marriage proposal that changed the fate of 2 worlds. In that time, much had changed. The alliance between Earth and Zephyr flourished. A permanent human settlement had grown on the outskirts of the capital, now home to nearly 500 Earth citizens. Scientists, engineers, diplomats, and their families lived in harmony, with the Luminari learning their ways while sharing human culture in return. Luminari technology had begun to transform Earth, starting with their clean energy systems. The first planetary core tap had been established in the Pacific Ocean, providing power to coastal cities without pollution or waste. Earth scientists worked alongside Luminari engineers, adapting the alien technology to work with Earth's different geological structure. Lisa had grown into her role as royal consort. She spoke the Luminari language fluently, now understood their customs and history. She had earned the respect of the court through her technological innovations and her diplomatic skill. When she walked through the capital, citizens bowed not just out of obligation to royalty, but out of genuine respect. Her appearance had continued to change subtly. The luminescence of her skin was more pronounced, now visible even in daylight. Her hair had developed a silvery sheen that caught the light in ways that seemed almost magical. Her eyes held tiny pinpricks of light like stars, especially visible when she was emotional. The royal physicians monitored these changes with fascination, documenting the first human luminary bond in medical history. Most importantly, Lisa and Alara had grown closer with each passing year. Their bond had deepened, becoming something that transcended both their species. The energy exchange between them was visible to others now, a subtle aurora that surrounded them when they were together. Their thoughts often aligned, completing each other's sentences, sensing each other's emotions across great distances. On the 5th anniversary of their marriage, a grand celebration was planned. Representatives from Earth would attend, including Captain Stone, now Admiral Stone, and head of the diplomatic fleet. The Luminary people would demonstrate their art, music, and technology in a festival lasting 3 days. But as preparations for the celebration began, troubling news arrived from the outer provinces. Sylar has escaped exile, a royal messenger reported to Queen Alara. He has gathered followers. He speaks against the alliance with Earth, against the human consort. Lisa sat beside Alara in the council chamber, watching her wife's face grow serious, the lights beneath her skin pulsing with concern. "How many follow him?" the queen asked. The messenger looked uncomfortable. "Nearly 1,000, Your Majesty. Mostly young luminari who fear human influence on our culture. They believe we sacrifice our identity, our traditions, by embracing Earth." Alara turned to Lisa, a silent communication passing between them. Lisa nodded, understanding the queen's concern. "We should hear them," she said. "We should listen to their fears. Ignoring them will only make Sylar's message stronger." The queen agreed. She sent messengers inviting representatives from the dissenting group to the capital to speak directly with her and the royal council. The invitation included a promise of safe passage, regardless of what was said. 3 days later, 5 young luminari arrived at the palace. They were escorted to the council chamber where Queen Alara and Lisa waited with the royal advisors. The visitors bowed to their queen, but their eyes lingered on Lisa with undisguised suspicion. "Speak freely," the queen told them. "You are safe here." The leader of the group, a tall female named Vestra, stepped forward. "We mean no disrespect to the throne, Your Majesty," she said, "but we fear for the future of our world. Since the humans came, our ways have begun to change. Young luminari adopt human fashions, human music, human ideas. They neglect the old traditions, the sacred ceremonies. The essence of what makes us luminari fades with each passing cycle." Lisa listened carefully, hearing the genuine concern beneath the words. This was not hatred or bigotry, but fear. Fear of loss. Fear of change. Vestra continued, gesturing toward Lisa. "The royal consort has brought many innovations to our world, but at what cost? Our children grow distant from the ways of their ancestors. They speak of Earth. They dream of visiting the human world. Some even alter their appearance to seem more human, dimming their natural light." Queen Alara remained calm, her voice gentle when she responded. "Change is the nature of all living things, Vestra. Even before humans came to Zephyr, our culture evolved. each generation adding its own notes to the great song of our people. But these changes are too fast, too foreign. Vestra argued. We lose ourselves in our fascination with these aliens. She glanced at Lisa again. Lisa felt the Queen's hand on hers, a gentle pressure suggesting she should speak. I understand your concerns, she said. I truly do. When different worlds meet, both are changed. It's inevitable, but change doesn't have to mean loss. It can mean growth. She leaned forward. The Luminary have taught humans so much about living in harmony with our planet, about sustainable technology, about the connection between all living things. These lessons are transforming Earth, saving it from centuries of damage. But what have we gained from humans, Vestra asked. What has Earth given Zephyr? Besides disruption. Lisa thought carefully before answering. Perspective, she said finally. Different ways of seeing, solving. Creating humans excel at adaptation, at finding unusual solutions to problems. The floating farm irrigation system that increased your crop yields, that came from combining luminary energy technology with earth water management techniques. The new medical treatments that heal spinal injuries. Those came from human doctors working with luminary healers, she paused. And perhaps most importantly, humans have given Zephyr a mirror, a way to see yourselves anew, to recognize what makes your culture unique and valuable. The council chamber was silent as her words sank in. Queen Alara spoke next, rising from her throne to address the visitors directly. I propose this, she said. The anniversary celebration will include a festival of remembrance, a day devoted to our oldest traditions, our most sacred ceremonies. Let us remind our youth of their heritage while also celebrating the new connections we have forged. Vestra and her companions exchanged glances. Then the young luminary bowed. This would be welcome, Your Majesty. When the visitors had departed, Lisa turned to Alara. Will it be enough, she asked. Will a festival truly address their concerns? The Queen took her hand, their energies mingling in the familiar, comforting way. It is a beginning, she said. The real work comes after listening, learning, finding balance between honoring the past and embracing the future. She smiled at Lisa. This is why I need you, my love. You see with different eyes. The anniversary celebration began 2 weeks. Later, the capital was transformed with decorations, lights, and music. Earth representatives arrived on 3 ships bearing gifts and greetings. Admiral Stone led the delegation, her uniform now adorned with the symbols of both worlds. The first 2 days followed tradition, performances, demonstrations, diplomatic meetings, feasting, and speeches. But the third day, the Festival of Remembrance, was something special. The oldest luminary elders led ceremonies that had not been performed in generations. They sang songs in ancient dialects that made the very air vibrate with power. They demonstrated arts nearly forgotten by the younger generations, weaving light into physical forms, creating music that caused plants to grow and bloom instantaneously. Lisa watched in wonder, seated beside Alara on a crystal platform in the great plaza. As the spouse of the Queen, she wore ceremonial robes and the royal circlet, but today, she deliberately minimized her presence. This was not about her or about Earth. It was about the Luminari remembering who they were. The highlight of the festival was the Ceremony of Stars, an ancient ritual where Luminari combined their bioluminescence in complex patterns that told the story of their species from earliest times to the present. Lisa had heard of this ceremony but had never witnessed it. The practice had fallen out of favor generations ago, seen as too time-consuming, too complex for modern life. 500 luminari participated, forming concentric circles in the great plaza. At a signal from the elder, they began to glow not randomly but in careful coordination. Light flowed between them, forming images in the air above images of early luminari emerging from the seas of Zephyr, of their first settlements, of their wars and eventual peace, of their technological development and spiritual awakening. It was like watching a living movie projected in 3 dimensions with the luminary themselves as both screen and projector. Lisa found herself moved to tears by the beauty of it. She felt Alara's hand squeeze hers, felt the Queen's emotion through their bond, pride in her people's heritage, wonder at the artistry. joy in sharing this moment. As the ceremony neared its conclusion, something unexpected happened. The elder leading the ritual turned toward the platform where Lisa and Alara sat. Queen Alara, they called. Will you and your consort join the circle? Will you add your light to the story? Lisa felt a moment of panic. She was not Luminari, not truly despite the changes in her body. She could not generate light as they did. But Alara stood pulling Lisa gently to her feet. Together, my love. The queen whispered. We are part of this story too. They descended from the platform and entered the circle of Luminari. Hand in hand they stood as the elder instructed them on the movements the focus required. Lisa followed Alara's lead, feeling the queen's energy flow through their bond.